George, you wrote about this online and you've decided to speak about this because this is something that all parents watching tonight will be familiar with. You have a new baby and you get all the kit, and part of that kit nowadays, because you're told to keep your baby close, to build the bond, is a baby sling.
Yeah.
And this seems like just part of the ordinary kit, but the argument you've got is that it doesn't come with instructions, proper instructions.
Yeah, so essentially they do come with instructions, but there's different instructions for different types of baby slings, lots of different types of baby carriers that are out on the market. And some of the instructions, I think, are focused a bit too much in terms of them being too tight. Whereas what happened with Jimmy and what came out of the inquest was that the sling was too loose, and there's not enough awareness, we think, and the coroner thinks, of slumping. So the baby being too loose in it and slumping down, and not necessarily having anything over their face, but being in a position where they can't get enough oxygen into their lungs. And yeah, that's why we're now trying and promote this as something that people need to be aware of, and why the coroner in the inquest wrote a prevention of future deaths report.
Yeah. It's really brave of you to take this on in Jimmy's name, because it's the worst possible thing that can happen. You know, Ellie, you're meant to be keeping your baby close and safe, but I know, as you've said before, George, you know, he was close, but he wasn't safe, and you just didn't know. And this was a sling that you'd used before with your older child, right?
Yeah, that's right. So I purchased it from a sling consultant for my older child when he was a baby, but he was then 2 years old when we had Jimmy. So I kind of went on sort of the knowledge that I'd built prior with my previous child, but obviously, like, you sort of forget everything you've learned, so, like, you don't retain everything. And yes, the carrier was kind of marketed as being suitable for feeding, hands-free, and suitable for newborns. So I did sort of feel like it didn't feel quite right, but, like, I just thought, well, who am I to know? Like, I'm following the instructions, this is how it fits, like...
Well, you
so I wish I trusted my own...
Suitable for age.
Yeah.
You know, you were wearing it. Again, wearing slings, you know, all mums will say, am I wearing it right? Am I wearing it right?
Yeah.
You know, there's no hard and fast instructions. There's no industry standard. Can you tell me about that day, if you wouldn't mind? Because you'll be doing something that all mums will be doing. You were getting ready to go out. You just needed 5 minutes, hands-free.
Yeah.
Jimmy needed to be fed, so you were feeding him as you moved about the house.
Yeah, so when we say hands-free, like I did sort of when I was feeding Jimmy in it, I did sort of have my hand...
Yeah, it's just a bit of extra support because your arm's hurt, right?
He was still kind of within the carrier, as it were. And I think one of the main points that came out of the inquest is that there is a guidance called TICS, which is known about but not widely enough, which is an acronym which is for having your baby tight and high. So tight in view, close enough to kiss and supported back. But the issue that arose in the inquest was that actually if you try and feed a baby in a carrier, and particularly under 4 months, if they're low birth weight as well, or have any vulnerabilities in particular, it is pretty much impossible to be able to breastfeed in a carrier and meet that TICS guidance, which is promoted as the safe way to wear a baby. So it seems very confusing for parents. I mean, one thing I would say, I'm not against baby wearing in any way. Like, I think it's a really useful tool, especially in this modern world. But I would just like to see and call for, like, mums to please, like, go to a baby wearing consultant, like, please use them, because they have all the knowledge and expertise to be able to make sure that mums do have a safe fit. And I think that's where sort of the knowledge and the education needs to improve.
That's expert knowledge, isn't it? But George, as you know, we all know not all parents have that resource available to them. And I just want to know if you want there to be an industry standard for baby carriers, for there to be clear information, a standard model of baby sling, because, again, parents have been there trying every different one. Is it comfortable? What does it do? All the advertising says breathable fabrics, you know, the different designs. But, you know, there are product safety laws, but it seems that baby slings just sort of fall through the cracks a little bit. There doesn't seem to be a standard practice, a standard model.
Yeah, they do. And essentially what happened with the car seat industry was because so many, sadly, children and babies were dying in car seats, the research was done and a standardised model was set up to make sure that they go through these stringent tests to prevent babies dying in car seats. At the moment, there's nothing in place for baby slings because a lot of them are very different. But also as well, yeah, there's no sort of standardised sort of set, which I find really strange to think of because they are so
because they're on the
widely
rise.
used.
You see so many parents, mums and dads, wearing them.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, yeah, definitely what needs to happen as far as we're concerned is for them to, for all of the different companies to come together. This isn't about sort of blaming one particular company or anything like that, but for everyone involved in that industry to come together with a simple set of rules and something a bit like when you leave hospital with your baby, you're given leaflets on safe sleeping and things like that, but nothing on baby carriers. You'll have to work it out for yourself. Yeah. There has to be something where there's a hard and fast set of rules that are simple to understand for parents that should just go with every single sling that's out there. And I can't understand why that's not in place already. I know work is being done now to do it.
Needs to happen faster.
But it needs to happen, like Jimmy's died. It's too late for us. And it could be too late already for some other parents that we don't know about yet. And that's the scary thing. And that's why the coroner has written this report, because she literally thinks more babies will die unless something changes.
And the coroner has sent that report to NHS England, the Department of Health and Social Care, the company responsible for the baby sling, and the Office for Product Safety and Standards. And the hope is that, you know, getting the NHS educated midwives, you know, having that specialist knowledge imparted to everyone, that it can keep babies safe by giving their parents the proper knowledge. I know you're expecting again, Ellie. Yeah, baby number 3 on the way. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I just want to know how the both of you are remembering Jimmy, because you're doing something so good in his name by raising awareness and making sure that no parents have to go through this. You want people to be educated to keep their families safe. But how do you remember Jimmy? The pictures are gorgeous, just 7 weeks old. What a delight.
He was like such a gentle, sort of docile character. And so I really remember that about him. Compared to our older one, he was a lot more vocal and a lot more, just a different character, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jimmy was just...
He was always very quiet. It was always... it was always like people almost forgot that he was around, not in sort of a horrible way, but, you know, Arthur was sort of, our other son was running around, running amok, and little Jimmy was sort of sitting there. He loved having, like, cuddles, so that's why we've set up our own sort of fundraising initiative called Jimmy's Cuddle, because literally I used to just pick him up, put him on my tummy, and he'd just fall asleep. So he loved his cuddles, and that's why through raising the awareness and also the fundraising we've been doing for various charities, including St George's Hospital Charity, Momentum Children's Charity, and we're hoping to do more in the future for Shooting Star and the Lullaby Trust, all in Jimmy's memory, so that his life lives on.
Well, listen, thank you so much for sharing Jimmy's stories, and good luck for the future. And I really hope that everything goes well for the new baby and also with the work that you're doing, but take some time off to relax.
I'll try my best.
George, Ellie, thank you so much. Thank you.